Hey, what's up? You like the hat? Yeah, I'm indoors now. Listen, I'm gonna do something just because I just remembered. Yeah, today is the 10 days after the 40th anniversary of a Office of Comptroller of Currency audit of the railroad industry. And I have at various times remarked on this, and I have done things in consideration of this, hoping that I would be able to assist with making sure that obligations that were set up in association with that audit were able to be honored as a way of providing a foundation, demonstrating some form of fiduciary responsibility. The truth of the matter is that audit was presided over by a office of comptroller of currency that was under the helm of a man named Elmer Statz. Now I don't know what literally connects me with Mr. Statz, but this would be the fourth audit from around that time period that has come my way just in enough time to be able to make the anniversary. And the audits of concern are very significant. I've already provided other information about an audit concerning the Department of Energy regarding its uranium enrichment facilities, as well as another audit concerning, or rather, a notice provided by Elmer Statz regarding database management and access to information for a variety of governmental functions, in addition to another audit that I have provided some reflection on as well. So this will be the fourth one. And I'm not going to lie, there's a part of me that understands this from a particular perspective. I have an anniversary today, a 9-month anniversary, on a public comment I presented to the Federal Reserve. I did not understand at the time, or at that time have access to more than the initial notice I had received access to regarding the notification Elmer Statz provided concerning information access and database management for the federal government. I had not had access at that point to the audits that I did subsequent to that. But one of the things I discussed, it has to do with appraisals on real estate and the real estate market. And a specific thing that I have been trying to address on my own here in Dallas is an understanding that there used to be a higher prevalence of 40-year mortgages than there are today. And one of the things that has been of my concern is that if somebody was obtaining a mortgage at a time frame when 40-year mortgages were more popular, and you get to that point where you're about to mature into the realization and finalization of that 40-year mortgage, what's that mean? And the concern became one of, well, were there actually mortgages or mortgage securities associated with 40-year terms that are coming due now that correlate with other changes that have happened at the Department of Treasury regarding issuance of long-term security instruments? The increase in number, for instance, of 30-year bonds that have been issued by the Department of Treasury over the course of the last 20 years. There's a very significant demonstration of a issuance of a larger quantity of 30-year bonds within the last 20 years as the years go forth, which brings up the question of what does it mean if we're dealing with the kind of financial instability we're dealing with right now, when we are in a particular paradigm of a certain number of those bonds coming to maturation, and understanding that we're issuing more and more per year. What is it's kind of like a status check. What's the status of our economy when it comes to meeting on obligations we've already established, while we're also increasing the number of obligations we put forth? So this was a particular manner of being, a manner of consideration. But then there was also the understanding of, well, what do you use as the underlying on a 40-year obligation? And what happened, unfortunately, at the time, I made some notes February 2nd and February 4th concerning my understanding of what was going on in consideration of that 40-year time frame, which also had some overlaps and some considerations with matters that were going on regarding United States policy with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Now, one of the things that I did not know at the time is that on February 3rd, 2021, the Supreme Court of the United States issued opinions in 3 cases with a 2-in-1 metric. Now, I've been trying to get people to pay attention to this 2-in-1 scheme ever since I first noticed it in 2017. The breaking of the triangle. But which triangle? Which trine? Which is the ping point? In these particular cases, there were 2 cases regarding argumentation, related to outstanding issues associated with, among other things, the Holocaust, specifically a distinction between definitions of recoveries connected to genocide versus expropriation for the purposes of national reclamation. There was also another case regarding the railroad retirement system. The night before the 40th anniversary on that audit, the Supreme Court of the United States issues an opinion about the railroad retirement system and its relationship with disability insurance and maximum time frames around which to try to address matters related to appeals and accessing benefits from one system versus another. Now, I was accused in my prior efforts at due process of engaging in bad faith in the process in a manner that was not actually fully explained to me. Well, I'm going to do this thing. I've done this a couple of times. I made some notes when I first found these cases in the intervening time frame. I'm going to listen to them, see what they say. Start with the first one here. It was found. Oop, did you hear that? The emergency broadcast system's going off in the other room. This one was made on February 11, 2021 at 1:47 p.m. regarding Federal Republic of Germany et al. Versus Philip et al. What do you think it says? Let's see. It takes a second because sometimes they take the voice out and then I have to do my check to make sure that the vocal file is being heard before it actually lets me record my own content, right? It's going to take a couple of seconds. 20, 21, 2, 3, 24. Wait a second. Well. What is happening? Whoa. So, that doesn't make any sense. Why would that happen? See, what happened is I clicked on to listen to that voice file and it started recording. Why? You want to try it again? Or are you trying to say you gave the first account to somebody else and somebody else did what with it? Were they the ones you were accusing of bad faith and you expected me to pay for them? Because that's really the core of what we're getting at here, isn't it? Let's try this again. Regarding Federal Republic of Germany et al. Versus Philip et al. I have not read the whole case. I just read the introduction regarding respondents are heirs of German Jewish art dealers who formed a consortium during the waning years of the Weimar Republic to purchase a collection of medieval relics known as Waffenschatz, talking about how Prussia had purchased it under a law of expropriation. And they argued that it was actually a violation of laws surrounding genocide, and so the concern is a matter of sovereign immunity, not only specifically 3 points. My question is this the Supreme Court attempting to deliver an opinion about sovereign immunity in a case using foreign nationals in some sort of test paradigm without responding directly to a waiver of sovereign immunity or a rescission or retraction of sovereign immunity for individuals that allege to be in public office in the United States? And again, putting it at the level of German Jewish survivors of the Holocaust. And a contextualization of genocide being significant insofar as it acknowledges German Jewish survivors in restitution for art, works of art. Okay. There's a part of me that, especially because I've been in excruciating physical pain based upon genital torture, for at least the last 3 years. It's kind of hard for me to like take. I don't know how am I supposed to respond. Wow. Okay. Wow. Um, Well, if nothing else, I guess one of the things, a couple of things it points out, first of all, that there is apparently decisions, there is implications, and the FSIA's terrorism exception eliminates sovereign immunity for state sponsors of terrorism, but only for certain human rights claims brought by certain victims against certain defendants. Eliminates sovereign immunity is different than waiving sovereign immunity. And that's very important. So the concept of state sponsors of terrorism then would call into question a consideration of the public role versus private role, and or abusing one's private role in order to be availed of private privileges, including private privileges connected to the illegal expropriation of the previously private property of individuals who would otherwise be considered their constituents and or even their political opposition, as well as how those things also factor into consideration of violations of the Second and 13th Amendment, which then brings up questions now of the consideration of the connection related to accusations of genocide and violations of the 13th Amendment. This understanding of Constitution also forming a form of culture, and insofar as it is the primary document defining the United States as a nation, and hence the concept of a culture and participation in culture. And there's plenty of Supreme Court rulings that discuss the concept of cultural context, especially when it comes to morality and or violations of public morals, for instance, as a sort of determinant in consideration of culture and how egregious violations of the Constitution, especially in performance of one's public duty as an alleged public official of the United States of America, may call into question considerations of acts of genocide against one's own people. And hence would then be what? Especially if what they're doing is prioritizing abuse of their role as a public official in order to facilitate or abet aid and abet enemies of the United States and or prioritize their loyalties to foreign nationals or foreign entities above and beyond their calling to uphold the Constitution of the United States in consideration of its own people. So that opinion was made public. It was published by the Supreme Court of the United States the day before the 40th anniversary of an Office of Comptroller of Currency report on the American railroad industry. Did you like my resiliency in the moment? You hit me in the crotch, and I had to respond extemporaneously. Are you disappointed that I didn't cry? I really want to know. I really want to know what made those people in their black robes think that the timing and the choice of their selections at that day, on that time frame, were appropriate. Because yesterday would have been the XCOM on those 3 case opinions. And what happened yesterday? You allowed for them to use the American people and torture the American people and murder the American people as a kickback to the gas and oil industry. Let's continue. Here is Salinas versus United States Retirement Board review. Terminal decision or bad faith. This is another case. It's dated for February 3rd, 2021. That is one day before the 40th anniversary on the Office of the Comptroller of Currency's audit of the railroad industry. Now, they are discussing a 4-year period regarding application for benefits associated with request for consideration of workers' compensation Let me make sure this. Let me make sure. Uh, e- Disability. I'm sorry. Disability benefits under the Railroad Retirement Act in 1974, and then discusses a 4-year period. It was closed after within 4 years of the 2006 decision. So that they issued this opinion exactly one day before the 40th anniversary of an OCC audit of the railroad industry, which, by the way, it took 3 years to compile the data and engage the audit process, but it took over 50 years for the considerations of the accounting system associated with the railroad industry to be able to get through a process where legislation was actually able to be passed concerning the unique process of accounting associated with the railroad system and how it factored into considerations of tax law. 1974 was also the year of the Privacy Act. And the Privacy Act regarding access to information, not only for people that are seeking health services, but also people that have a need to engage with other kinds of public sector service providers, up to and including domestic violence or homeless shelters, for instance. So the idea of determining a case associated with the closure of a 4-year period, which precludes consideration of or is considered in connection with the concept of benefits determinations based on not meeting terms within or being closed within a 4-year period, brings up the first thing that came up, which is that his claim for disability insurance access was not awarded until after his 4th application in 2013. What was in 2013? When in 2013 did this happen? How close to the 3-year anniversary of the implementation of the Affordable Care Act was that? And let me tell you something. I'm going to stop right here, and I'm not going to read this right now. Why? I'm going to read it on February 14th. Why? Because I watched the Supreme Court of the United States during its autumn session of 2019 engage in a completely reckless schedule around its case arguments and considerations, and in the meantime, missed major benchmarks. You know what this looks like? It looks like sabotage. Whose ass are they trying to cover for trafficking women for 40 fucking years so that they can get their betterment for their retirement? Because that's exactly what just fucking happened to me in the last fucking, how many days? 8 days? In the last 8 days. That's literally what they did to me. Rather than acknowledging that I was actually keeping benchmarks connected with fucking nuclear safety. Now, there's a third case that day. It had to do with Germany. Hungary. You know what it sounds like to me? The same thing they've been doing with this Russian hacking shit for years. Beat the German bitch for having a relationship with Russia. Keep beating the German bitch. Keep beating the German woman until she agrees to fucking pay. I swear to fucking God, what, you wanted to fucking bounce it off a disability to where, Hungary? There wasn't a lot they said about Hungary. All they had to do was slap the fucking name on it. Did you guys go back to the Society for an Open Foundation? You know, no fucking boundaries. See, I didn't go there that day. I went instead, I was like, wait a second. Are they talking about Raul Salinas? But I gotta reel it in. They had a fucking bullshit kangaroo court of an impeachment proceeding, and they voted down 57-43 yesterday on the 10-day anniversary of these bullshit fabrications by the goddamn fucking Supreme Court that completely sabotaged what otherwise would have been a very comprehensive delivery on an obligation set up 40 years ago concerning the railroad. Instead, they wanted to fucking talk about fucking disability with a 3-year term? What's the 3-year fucking term on that goddamn audit? You know what the 3-year term of that audit was? The decision regarding the accounting standard happened 3 years later. So what the fuck is that? You know, that sounds like a fucking kickback. Does the fucking Supreme Court do anything except kickback deals based on fucking horrendous crimes to their co-conspirators on the bar? I want to fucking know. Because let me tell you something. Right here in Texas, they've been playing around with this bullshit Holocaust commission for several fucking years. And I had to watch last summer while they made stock on a bunch of people playing some disgusting little fucking sex game around fucking converting the fucking Holocaust. They have women locked up, alone, in their fucking household, being pinged with this goddamn bullshit net zero crap. Where even if you have some qualification to actually engage in the energy sector, you're not allowed to do anything. You're supposed to be in financial fucking services, masturbating on fucking command, so a bunch of other people can launder fucking money, and they want to call it green fucking energy. That's the shit the fucking Nazis did in those rape camps, assholes. You just wanted to fucking give them insurance to fucking do it right now. Who the fuck are you? Let me remind you that when Justice Jackson served on the fucking Nuremberg Commission, part of what he had to do was preside over trials concerning Nazis that called themselves judges and fucking lawyers. You guys made a very bad decision, and these very bad decisions keep accumulating.